Hi everybody, I'm Jim Shore. Welcome once again to my studio. I've got in front of me some pieces that are new for 2012 this year. Now from the very beginning, when I started doing this style of artwork, one of the subjects that I loved to do most was the different versions of the story of Jesus' birth, the Nativity story. And so I've done it in many different ways, and each time I do it, there's a certain challenge involved in that it needs to be something that is fresh and original and interesting and still impart the story without being, sort of a play on something that I've done previous. So I've got three different approaches here, and I'll run through these so that you'll kind of understand my thinking when I was going through the creative process on this. We've got, and I'll go through over here on the far on your left. I've got the sort of a smaller version of the story, and this one in the center is kind of a nesting version. It's kind of like my version of a Patrishka doll, which is that Russian doll where everything's nesting one another. And then over here, I've got a little bit larger venue, and that is achieved by creating this in the sort of my traditional pencil style, as it's called, since it's built on these tall, thin, this thin motif. Now, going back to the first one, that is one that is highly detailed, highly colorful, and the patterning, the quilt patterning is all different, but it all sort of goes together as the symbology of the quilt patterns creates a story. And then in the bottom trim coordinates together to sort of create something that makes the line or makes the grouping cohesive. And then inside, framed in sort of almost a Victorian Gothic combination shape, we have it framed in this kind of a window that looks into a high relief scene that once again in its own way tells the story again in miniature relief. As you can see, we've got the angels, the trek of Mary and Joseph through the landscape going on their way to Bethlehem. We've got the Holy Family in the robe of the angel, and then in the wise men, we've got the star that they were following, the wise men themselves on their trek, and the shepherds when they were approached in the night sky by the heavenly host, announcing the birth. So together that collectively creates the story in an artistic way that's probably as much signature, my version of artwork as much as anything I've ever done. Now this second collection here is a nesting collection. It goes from the angel to Joseph, which fits inside there, to Mary, who fits inside there, and then finally to the baby Jesus that fits inside here. So collectively, they can be shown as a grouping, or they can be shown together nesting. I'll take just a second, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then each one of them on the inside, of course, has an oversized tone-on-tone design, but they nest like this. So this one goes in there, that one goes in there, like so, and then this one goes in there, like so. So that collectively they can be displayed like this, which is kind of a stylized sort of, kind of almost a trendy look, to being put together on the outside as a cluster. So artistically, this I think is a pretty versatile piece. There it is. Now, and then of course it's got the rose malling and the the ever-present quilt patterns that I love to use so much. This quilt pattern here, this is an alternating pattern that emphasizes diagonal bow ties, and so it alternates from a solid block to a bow tie, to a solid block to a bow tie, and then alternating from a bow tie to a solid block, bow tie, solid block. In conjunction, when you look at it all together, it creates a star pattern if you look at emphasize and concentrate on the points. And then you have this square and diamond on the inside. So it's a very unusual sort of an optical design that's been used by quilters for many generations. It's a very popular design. I like it too. So now we move on. We're looking now at this collection that is based on this pencil style approach that I've created many years ago. I started doing it in this styling, and has kind of changed the the perception of art as it applies to subjects like Santa, snowman, in this case the whole Nativity set, and so it's created a different artistic direction applied to these, and I think it has done so as a folk art application in a very unique and beautiful way, because we can have these pieces here, and if you'll notice, the coloration, while very, very different from the teals to the purples to these wonderful sort of sap, earthy greens, create a palette that is completely compatible. It's decorated then with the purples and with the maroons and the burgundies and the plums and blues, and together they make an artistic scene here that's almost a small banquet of colors, if you will. Visually, it's a pretty well balanced composition right here, I think. So and then the Holy Family, same can be said, but it's a little bit slightly different. As you can see, the coloration adds a little bit different emotional impact than this, because these are kings. These are common people, These are ordinary folks that have created something absolutely extraordinary. And so I wanted to do this in a way that would emphasize that earthy nature of this. And then, of course, over here we've got the representation of the shepherd with the donkey and the sheep and that sort of thing, and they are in full decoration. And once again, with a very kind of organic look. And then we have the angel that is basically the guardian herald angel that is so important to the story. And she is decorated once again in this repeating pattern that works so well within this collection. And then the backdrop is created by this, the creche, that once again has this type of vertical proportion and emphasizing the decoration of the lilies, which I always include somewhere within this story, because it's indicative of the kind of the end of the story of Jesus on earth, while at the same time we are physically, that is, while at the same time we're celebrating the beginning. And then, of course, the Eastern Star is in the center, in the middle. And collectively, that makes up what I consider to be probably one of the best executed and most beautiful nativities that I've come up with yet, considering their dimension and their size. It's in my opinion, a very impressive group, and I display it proudly, and I think you will too. So you can take your pick, whether you like the compact, beautiful sort of jewel tones of the small, or the unique approach of this nesting version, or this very stylized and beautifully, I think, crafted exercise in color that we have here. So I've enjoyed this. I've put a lot of emotion in this, as I always do I'm passionate about what I do. I know you are too, and I hope that you enjoy these pieces as much as I have enjoyed the opportunity to bring them to you. So thanks for coming by, and God bless every one of you.